Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to No Place Like Homaha. I am your host alongside Nick Hendricks and Mikey Love, of
The burnt redhead.
course. When the sun comes out, it's all bets are off
It's
at that
bad.
point
You
for
can
you.
see the sunglass line and even like
Ooh,
the side of the sunglasses, like you know what I'm talking about? Like not the
yep.
glasses, but the things that keep them attached to your face. It's not pretty.
Oh,
Quite
I'm excited
ugly.
to see the footage when we
I'm
get it.
not. It's bad.
Love it. All right.
No.
So let's kick it off with some games for discussion for the weekend. Nick, you want to start us?
Yeah, so I kind of want to start us off with the number one team in the country because I mean it was a battle down in Columbia, South Carolina. We'll throw it to Texas and South Carolina. They were down, like I said, in Columbia this weekend facing the Gamecocks. They win game one on Saturday. They won 9-5. Ivan Melendez hit an absolute just tanker. He hit two tanks in that game, but he hit a tank dead center field, threw the bat straight to the pitcher. I mean,
Yeah,
what are
I
you going
did
to do
see
about it? I
that.
mean, that was the disrespect. It was
The
so,
next one in his ribs, probably.
oh,
Yeah, the
yeah.
next batter for sure was going to get pegged.
Oh yeah. Well, then you flip to the next two games that were today because they had they had the game get canceled on Friday due to weather, and then it was a 4-2 loss. I watched part of that game, and then it was a 9-4 loss on the second game. So South Carolina figured out how to pitch Texas pretty well this weekend. Besides game number one, so they were able to throw them off. In the first inning of game number one, it was 1-1. South Carolina scored two in the fourth, gave them that 3-1 lead. Texas got one back in the fifth with another home run, and then South Carolina got one more to put it up 4-2, and that was kind of the end of that. Texas only had 5 hits in game one as well, trying to go through, look to see what the pitchers is. Will Sanders, I did watch a little bit of him. It was a 7-inning game today. Both games were 7 innings. Will Sanders went 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. So, I mean, Sanders was kind of dealing against this Longhorn offense who has been very, very hot, but not as hot as some of the teams that we'll talk about as well this weekend. Game number two, Texas jumped out with a 1-0 lead in the first inning with a Melendez home run to center. Good Lord, man is hot. The Hispanic Titanic is on a tear. South Carolina gets the run back in the third, and then they score 5 runs in the fourth inning. They score another 3 in the sixth frame, and then that was kind of all that happened for South Carolina. Texas tried to score 3 in the fourth as well. But, I mean, the one thing that we talked about, and I think mentioned it last week, was just timely pitching. I mean, if you can figure out these offenses like South Carolina did, Sanders was throwing a lot of off speed, getting a lot of Texas bats to roll over, especially down in the lower part of the orders. That was kind of where it was at. So Texas drops now 3 out of their last 5 games, with a win over Texas State, a loss to Texas State, win over South Carolina, and then loses the series to South Carolina. They got College of Charleston coming up next. A lot of
You
info.
just spoke a lot of words right there, buddy. Oh my God.
He was
I
just
know.
Also
whipping
have
out
a
some-
hard
Take a
on
sip of water.
for Ivan. You have a hard on.
I
It's
did
not
like
even-
though. I
Whoa.
did like the South Carolina catcher did make a diving catch behind the
Oh,
plate.
yeah, off a bunt. Yeah.
Ooh.
That was
One-handed
crazy to
catch.
see.
You sent me that on TikTok. That was pretty dang good.
Yep.
Speaking of catchers, let's draw this to MLB. I don't know if you two have seen this. In the Yankee spring game, I don't even think it was a real
Yes.
spring game. One of the batters
Oh.
fouled it off, and he just
I saw that.
with his
Between the
bare
legs,
hand down there, just like a vacuum.
That was
I
crazy.
thought it was pretty dope.
Well, and it was just so clean too, because you can see the tip go right by the catcher's glove and straight into the bottom of the hand because he's setting up with his hand just right on the dirt, and it goes between his legs. He catches it. It's like nothing happened. You didn't see that?
Yeah, it was so smooth. So smooth.
Damn.
Well, you were talking about Texas being hot. Tennessee kept their stuff going. They played.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, they
did.
played a Rhode Island team, 17-4, 8-3, and 12-3. They've got the one loss on the season to the very good Texas team. I think that's been their biggest opponent though so far. I mean, you got SEC play starting this coming weekend,
Mm-hmm.
which will be very exciting. But they continue to lay it on kids. Notre Dame continued
Oh
their
yeah,
big ol' hot
Yep.
streak, putting that beating on NC State.
they won the series.
Are the Fighting Irish a little force to be reckoned with?
They were last year. I mean, you take a look at them. They won the regional appearance to get to, I think, one of their first super regionals ever. And they came a game away from Omaha, but now they're ranked number 3 in the country, I believe. But
Did they jump that far?
According to NC State's schedule, yes. But that might be one of the composite rankings that we kind of all both look at. So I'm just trying to take a look at it now, going to their schedule here. But so far, Notre Dame is 11-1. They've got a couple of key notable wins. They got a win against Illinois. They got a win against Michigan State, Minnesota, so Big Ten opponents. And then they won the series against NC State this weekend. They won 8-4 in 12 innings on game number 1, which was Friday. And then they won game number 3, or should I say 2 from the series today, 11-4, because the game was canceled due to weather yesterday. So
there was quite a bit of those this year or this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, so the next opponent for Notre Dame, which is actually really insane, is Louisville. Louisville had snow. They had a blizzard. I think it was Friday or Saturday. Yeah, it was Friday afternoon.
It was that game?
And they were playing Michigan. Yeah. Louisville was playing Michigan in a blizzard, and I saw somebody's tweet about it, and I was like, I don't know why people are going to get offended by this, but you should have guys play college baseball in like April. It's like, okay, well, we have guys playing MLB baseball in October and November when it gets insanely cold, and those are night games. It's like the season's kind of prepare. But Notre Dame, yeah, they've been on a hot streak right now.
So I don't think the rankings have been updated. As of the 7th, they were 9th.
Okay. So then that must have been the composite schedule or the composite ranking then.
Yeah. I don't know when rankings come out, though.
They come out on Mondays, usually.
That's kind of what I figured.
Okay.
They'll come out on Monday afternoon, so we can even do on the TikTok at Homaha Pod. We'll do like kind of a just updated rankings list possibly, or at least on Twitter we'll get that out. But yeah, Notre Dame is kind of a force to be reckoned with, and
yeah, I don't know if they jump to 3 though.
No, I would say if they're going to do anything with the ranking, they would jump decently high, but
they'll be top.
Kind of a little bit of hot take.
I don't know if they'll be top 5 either. Arkansas didn't play too well this weekend. Well, they played okay, but
Ole Miss kept their number 2 ranking, just absolutely tearing it up against Oral Roberts. Texas, they dropped 3 out of their last 4. I think Texas moves out. Ole Miss flops in.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. And then Arkansas I think Arkansas will drop. Vanderbilt did pretty good this weekend. They'll scoot up.
Swept.
Because did you say SEC starts this weekend, correct?
It does.
So that will be the biggest test, and I'm going to look up Vanderbilt right now just to see who they have.
They're 14-2.
They are 14-2.
Got Missouri this weekend.
So that should be a pretty easy series for Vanderbilt to kind of get on their feet with the SEC.
Oregon State might move up top 5. They dropped 1 game to Washington State, but they're 11-2 on the year. They've already. Oh, I forgot the Pac-12 played this week.
Yeah, Pac-12, ACC, they were all in action this weekend. Big Ten was not. Nebraska played UNO. They had a couple of heartbreakers
which was weird.
This weekend.
What happened with that series? They were supposed to play Long Beach State, and Long Beach State ended up playing Gonzaga.
They got fully canceled.
Mm.
I have no idea why.
Gonzaga played Long Beach State today, I think. Yeah, today they did. They played They played them this weekend. They played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They don't even. Long Beach State doesn't even have Nebraska on here.
According to Nebraska's schedule,
Missouri.
Well, Nebraska's schedule, it says Long Beach State was at Lincoln. They got canceled.
Yeah.
Nebraska played University of Nebraska Omaha, so the good old Mavericks. They lost 4-3 today.
Surprising.
The Cornhuskers did.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got another game tomorrow in a doubleheader series. So tomorrow, if you guys are going to be in Lincoln, this video will not be edited. Sorry. So Monday, this will be $1 hot dog night. First 500 fans get a $1 hot dog at the new University of Nebraska Omaha Stadium, which is actually really dope. What'd you say?
I'll make sure to miss it.
Okay.
But yeah, I really don't know what happened with that series.
I don't either.
I'm going to look at Long Beach State schedule.
Real quick, you guys have been talking about top 5. Why aren't we talking about Clemson in the top 5?
Because Clemson got beat
They did not. They're
today.
14-0.
They got beat
No,
today
they
by
lost.
Northeastern.
Northeastern beat them one game.
Okay.
5-3.
So
That's why we're not talking about them.
still, though, Northeastern is coming off of a very good weekend last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So still 14-1 then. That's still a really good team.
Nick, I think I might. Ole Miss dropped a game to Oral Roberts today.
They did.
They did?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think top 2 will shake up. I think top 2 will stay the same. Clemson, I think moves
Clemson
top
drops.
15. I think Clemson moves top 15 because Tulane got swept this weekend.
They did, yes.
They did.
Yeah, by Evansville.
Texas Tech swept.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'll move up far. Liberty, I think, went 2-1. What Georgia Tech do?
And Texas Tech had an absolutely outstanding performance. Josh, I think you sent me the TikTok about
Brandon
that.
Birdsell.
Or at least yeah. He had 6 innings. It was 6 innings,
pitched,
right?
15 Ks.
Jeez.
And he had
no
2
hits
innings
through
where
that.
we had 8 Ks.
That's crazy.
So.
But yeah, so I'm looking at Northeastern's schedule right now. They lost
3
2 to
innings,
Clemson,
right? 8 Ks.
Mm-hmm.
and then they took 1 game away from Clemson
Mm-hmm.
this weekend.
Is that all the undefeated teams then?
Wake Forest lost this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that is all the undefeated teams. So now there's no more undefeated teams in college baseball. The winning streak so far on the longest year was 13, and that was the good old Clemson Tigers. So, but Josh, I think that Clemson jumping into the top 5 when it comes to actual rankings, I think is a little far-fetched at the moment. Once they start breaking into ACC play 100% if they can kind of keep it up, because their next
if they start
opponent,
playing opponents, yeah.
Their next opponent for the ACC and to open it up would be Miami, and then they got Coastal, and Winthrop in a midweek game, and then they got Pitt, in their second ACC series. But I think that Miami series will be a big test to see how this Tiger offense can do, because I mean they've just been racking up runs. They're super hot.
Clemson?
Yeah, Clemson. They've been racking up runs this entire last couple of weekends, because I'm at least going to throw it back to hopefully yesterday if this D1 baseball schedule kind of comes through. So let's go down. Yeah, they scored 10 runs yesterday. It was a 10-4 win against Northeastern. And then on Friday evening, it was 9-6. So they've been racking up a little bit of runs there. Northeastern as well, they might be 7-7, but like I said, their pitching staff should be good enough to kind of keep them through and at least get through conference play. And they've got a lot of ACC opponents as well, kind of in the midweek games. So.
I was just thinking they'd crack top 5 just because they were undefeated, but now since they're not, then
Clemson?
Yeah.
That'd be a huge jump. They were 19th going into this weekend.
Yeah. I'd maybe put them at 13.
Maybe top
I'd hop
10 then if they would have stayed undefeated, maybe top 10.
I don't know.
If they're undefeated, top 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because then, I mean, you think about it. I don't think anybody in the top 10 is going to fall out. If anything, there will be some shuffling within. I think 11 to 25 would be the biggest.
11 to 25?
I think is where things will fluctuate a lot more. Because the top 10, those are all very good ball clubs. You know, Texas, very decent. Ole Miss is decent. Arkansas is usually pretty good. Vanderbilt's always good. But I don't conference play, I think, will have a bigger impact on all of these rankings than anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got a Tulane team that got swept.
Well, and then you got Stanford, who lost the entire series to Oregon, and Stanford was top 5. They lost 2 games straight, and then they won the deciding game today, 10-6.
Stanford might fall.
Stanford will fall a little bit. I'm looking at Oregon State right now as well, because that's their third Pac-12 series. Pac-12 also started this week. Looking forward. Oh, my Lord. Oregon State's website is so weird.
Whole Old Dominion.
Yeah, Mikey, how did the good old Dominion Lions do this weekend?
They took Stony Brook down a brick road. They tied them to the car, drug their ass.
Yikes. Does anybody, speaking of dragging people, does anybody want to check in on Iona?
Oh,
Yeah,
there
here,
it
I got you.
Okay.
There it is.
I got you.
Okay.
0-11, baby.
Oh no!
Hey, they had a close game. 3-2 on Friday, first game.
Wow.
Okay. What
And
was
then-
the next game?
20-10.
Oh,
Oh,
pitching staff getting obliterated.
that's
by Iona.
tough because that's a good offensive performance.
And then coach was like, "We're not playing Sunday."
Just go home.
Go home. Bye. See you.
down.
Have a good spring break. Talk to you later.
The only other two games that I wanted to talk about from this weekend were both walk-offs because TCU
Alright.
had two.
Yep.
They had a walk-off homer and then they had a walk-off walk. What's even worse than a walk-off walk was the Northwestern and St.
Oh.
Thomas game.
Mm.
The man had
So
a
bad.
walk-off balk.
I was
see
watching.
that.
I was watching that because you guys sent it to me, or somebody sent it in the group chat, and I
Mhm.
was watching it on the way home, or like watching it as I was just pulling in to my apartment, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Were you texting and
That's-
driving?
No, I was not texting and driving. I just pulled in.
I can't believe you.
No.
Unbelievable.
We're gonna have to report you to the federals.
All right. I'm sorry.
It's
him,
No
officer.
Texting and driving. We do not support it.
Don't say sorry to me. Say sorry to the cops.
Say sorry to the listeners. We're trying to be good
I'm
role
sorry,
models.
listeners.
Can't believe you.
The viewers, listeners.
They
viewers.
don't accept your apology.
No, okay. Well, but yeah, 2 walk-off wins for TCU this weekend. A walk-off block for
Was it Northwestern?
Northwestern. Yeah,
Northwestern,
sorry,
yep.
had like a blank there. But walk-offs have been insane this year, and especially walk-off home runs as well. So
Oh, there's still one undefeated team. that I know of. It's Purdue.
What?
Mhm.
Hold on here. I gotta look at this.
Mhm.
Boilermakers making some noise.
They're not just a basketball team. Well, even though they did lose the Big Ten today to Iowa.
that
Good
is
Lord,
true.
I don't know how that. Yikes.
that
Also, March
basketball?
Madness.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, basketball, Big Ten. But all right, so let's look at Purdue's schedule here. South Dakota
don't have
State
anybody
won 4
till
games against
Ohio
Princeton,
State.
4 games.
Mm.
Longwood, Bellarmine. I have never even heard of Bellarmine. They had that 2 games this weekend. They won. Game 3 got canceled, or should I say Game 2 got canceled on Saturday. They got Dayton coming up next, and Illinois State, the Redbirds. Big Ten play for Purdue does not start until March 25th, and they got Ohio State, and that is going to be at home in South Bend. So, and then they do have University of Chicago, who gave Arkansas a little bit of a tough time this weekend.
University? Do you mean Illinois, Chicago? Is that what you're talking about?
I think so. They got fully swept.
UIC?
Yeah, they got fully swept, but they did come with a couple of
Yeah,
close
I
games. Or they
see.
had one
Played it
close game.
close.
I thought
Yeah.
that Arkansas had a – I was looking at
Fire.
Arkansas this weekend, but
What are you talking about? They
I have
played
no
one
clue.
game close. The other ones that got the shit kicked out of them.
2 games. It was 5-4 and 10-8.
They gave up 10 runs, bro.
Dude, what do you want?
Nice.
They had a doubleheader. Okay, this is the weirdest schedule. You have a doubleheader on Thursday, and then you have a doubleheader on Saturday. I think that was because weather canceled the game on Friday.
Coach woke up and was like, long day, fellas. Get ready.
Long day. Oh, yikes.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy that some, like especially Big Ten schools, are starting their conference play very, very late. SEC, obviously, due to, and Big 12 with the weather, they start their schedule super early. But I did want to, Mikey mentioned it earlier, I kind of want to throw it to the Campbell series with Liberty. They had a big mess up in game 1. They lost 7-0, and then they had a 5-3 victory coming up as well today. I think Campbell had a big home run as well to kind of put them ahead. Oh man, I got a
Did
PDF
Liberty
box
take that
for you.
serious, though?
They only played 2 games. It was a split.
Okay, yep.
So I'm kind of looking at it right now. In the first game, Liberty used 5 pitchers. In game number 1, Campbell only used 3. Thomas Harrington went 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts as well in game number 1. Liberty's pitcher, Joe Adams III, he had 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 runs, all 4 were earned, and he only had 2 strikeouts. So Campbell pitching still kind of doing their thing as well. But you throw it back to Liberty's schedule, If I can get there.
Figure
As
it
I'm
out.
backing it up here.
Throw it back, Terry.
I'm throwing it back. Liberty's
That's
schedule.
weird.
So after Campbell, they got a midweek game against VCU, and then they start conference tournament against North Florida this weekend. They got a 3-game series, and I believe that is in Jacksonville. So, and then they play Wake Forest in the middle of the week next week. Wake Forest, Demon Deacons, one of the hottest offenses in the country at the moment. But they got stifled by Florida State this weekend. That was a big weekend for the Sentinels, or for the Seminoles.
Let me ask you this.
All right.
This is the third weekend for college baseball.
Yes, sir.
People are still getting drop kicked in terms of giving up runs, but it's not as bad as the first 2 weeks. You
Okay.
think this is going to continue? You think we'll just continue to see scores like 19-8 get put up, or 16-1, or like
I
22
feel
to
like it kind of
nothing?
depends on like the pitching staff that they have available that day, because like sometimes I feel like they're still trying to get a feel of where they can kind of put guys in the order of, rotation in the bullpen and stuff like that. So they might be like, you have your studs go out one day and that's why they're putting up 1 or 2 runs. Then it's like, oh wait, we don't have really anybody to finish the weekend series, and so it then kind of flip-flops. Others I feel like are still maybe finding just a groove to get into.
Well, you still have like 10-ish weekends left.
Yeah.
Before things really start to get interesting. But I mean, you look at this Notre Dame NC State game today, 11-4 between 2 ranked teams.
Yeah.
You think we're going to just continue to see gaps like that come, or as all the conferences get into conference play, are we going to see some much tighter games?
I think as once conferences kind of come into play, big offenses or pitching staffs is going to be where it really shines. Because I know I was watching Florida State the last couple of days. Their pitching staff is very well known for being that shutdown team. They have the most consecutive regional appearances, or second most consecutive regional tournament appearances in college baseball. They're under a new head coach as well. But I think if you can get a pitching staff built around, I think that kind of helps. But also, offenses are really starting to kind of figure out counts now. And I think hitters are becoming more effective in the counts that they're able to work. So, like, you have your 2-0 counts, your 3-0 counts, and your 1-0 counts that are just – and any other count that you're super ahead in, your batting average obviously skyrockets. Some hitters are able to get thrown off a little bit, some aren't. And I feel like a lot of pitchers right now are throwing themselves into that 2-0 count, 3-1 count kind of situation where hitters are super ahead, and that's where all your run production is. And then throw back to NC State and Northeastern, that was timely hitting. So, I mean, if you can kind of beat the shift and beat the strategy, then yes, you will see high-scoring games. But I kind of feel like once conference play comes around, you're going to have a little bit more information on how to pitch some of these teams, and you've had the same guys for the last 4 years come through your schedule. New head coaches are obviously going to have notes from old head coaches and kind of talk back and forth with it. So I feel like run production might kind of diminish a little bit, but I feel like you'll still see in some cases some 10-4, 10-6 games, something like that.
You mentioned the shift. You think with the ban of the shift in the MLB, you think that's going to trickle down into the NCAA?
I hope not.
That'd be interesting, though.
Because I know it's like we talked about last week, it's a strategy game. I mean, if you can't beat the shift, or you can't be a good enough hitter to beat the shift, or take an outside pitch over to right field, take an outside pitch over to left field if you're lefty, or kind of be able to work the count in your favor to that, then you might not be MLB caliber. And I know I struggled with it a lot. So I think go for it.
I think they leave it. I don't think they ban it.
I hope.
Because you think about it, the college baseball is so much more exciting.
Oh yeah.
Than MLB.
And you don't see such drastic shifts as you do in the MLB.
No, you don't, because you don't see these. They have 162 games in the MLB. You don't see teams 40 times during the college baseball season.
Exactly.
I mean, you see conference play maybe twice, maybe only 3 times, and then you have the tournaments. So they have some of those, but I don't think they have enough information to know that, Ivan Melendez is either gonna put this over the fucking fence or he's gonna throw a bat at someone. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
Well,
interesting.
Well, like a big thing, like I talked about, was Wake Forest's offense. Wake Forest has been top 5 in almost 8 different offensive categories so far this season. In batting average, they were number 1 as a team. They were hitting like over 700 in run production. I think they were second, and then you go down the line, and they've been in the top 5. They were held so far this weekend to only 6 runs in total. I mean, nope, sorry, take that back. They had 13 runs in total on the weekend. But to Wake Forest, that's been a low on the season. So, I mean, you get teams that are just absolutely hitting up the board. So now you have to try to pitch them differently. Well, how are you going to do that when you got a team like this who can adjust so well? You know what I mean?
Another big performance was Oklahoma State's pitcher. I believe his name is Justin Campbell. He had 12 Ks on the weekend.
Solid.
And then real quick, just switching over to D1 softball, since I feel like this is a monumental thing.
All right.
Jocelyn Allo from Oklahoma. She beat a former Oklahoma player's record, Lauren Chamberlain, who holds the record for most home runs in a career with 95. She hit
I did see that.
96 career home run in her home state of Hawaii.
I dated both
did
those
see that,
girls.
yeah.
Okay, Mike. But actually, it's just impressive to watch her play. She is a phenomenal athlete and can pretty much just put the ball out anywhere.
College
Oh, yeah.
softball is no joke, bro.
Oh,
College
absolutely.
softball is legit. Okay, so we'll kind of stick with this. But James Madison last year coming into the Women's College World Series and shaking up the books, freaking love it. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, they were making plays as pitchers, diving on bunts and everything like that.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
they were playing so good.
You see
And
some
to
cool
see
plays.
them lose, like, it sucked because I was rooting for them. And I watched the Women's College World Series just a little bit, like, kind of in between just to see, because college softball is fun as well. Like, don't get me wrong. College softball is its own atmosphere as well. And
Most
I was
definitely.
watching James Madison as they took down, I think it was either Oklahoma or Alabama in the first series, or UCLA, it might have been one of those 3. And I was like, okay, go off. And then they started to win, and I was like, all right, we gotta see what's going on here. So college softball, absolutely fun to watch as well.
I believe it was last year or a few years ago. It was within the last few years. A girl hit for the cycle in home runs. She hit
That
a
was last
solo
year.
shot, a 2-run shot, 3-run shot, and a grand slam in
That
one
was
game.
last year.
Okay, so that brings up the question: what would you rather hit? Would you rather hit the cycles and dinger, or would you rather hit the cycle, which I don't know which one would technically be harder?
So
The cycle and dingers. What you mean?
But still,
That's a boost to the stat line regardless. You
I
get
don't
so
think
many RBIs.
at the collegiate baseball level, I don't think you'd get the chance to do that. And I'm not saying softball is easy. I think it's a lot harder to hit the cycle for a home run cycle in college baseball than it is college softball. I'm not saying college softball is easy, but and again, Josh, you can attest to this, but I don't think you see intentional walks in college softball all the time.
I would agree.
Well, I mean, okay, let's think about this. Like, this was Beezer bat era. A guy from Texas A&M, I think. He went 6 for 6 with 6 home runs.
It was Florida State.
Florida State. There you go.
That was how many years ago?
Team.
Oh, way back in the day. That was early 2000s, like 90s, 98 era.
I mean, I just feel like nowadays you hit 2 ding-dongs. I just don't think you see the third. I don't think you see a third pitch to even hit at your at-bat. They're either gonna walk you or they're gonna all throw it out to the outside to the point where you can't even fucking put it over the fence.
I mean, I will say Ivan Melendez today, he had a chance to absolutely be a hero. And granted, yes, it is hard in that situation because you don't know where the pitcher's going to throw it, but he hit a fastball in the inner half after getting set up with the slider and he fisted it, or he got fisted. If
Yeah,
he
did
would have
he?
actually got the barrel to it, oh man, that ball would have went a mile. But I mean, still, there's even with college softball throwing a rise ball. I've talked to so many softball players that say if you see a rise ball, it's like seeing a high fastball in baseball.
Oh
You're
yeah,
just
you
your
want to
eyes
Oh,
light
yeah.
up. It's a beach ball, like, and they have the ability to have that rising fastball. We do not. As pitcher, like
Truth.
even in MLB The Show, for example, it's like, oh, that was that rising fastball. With us, a fastball doesn't rise; it just stays on that same plane. With college softball, or with softball in general, that ball is already coming up. So I mean, there's a lot of factors that throw into that.
And I mean, going back to the hitting thing, I feel like it's a lot harder to hit for the cycle in softball than it would be in baseball.
Oh, 100%.
Because just the field is so shallow. But no, I feel like just situationally, it's just situational hitting, and that can translate into baseball as well.
Oh, yeah.
So she just capitalized on the fact that she was still getting pitches to hit. Because obviously that girl should have been like, okay, I'm just going to try to throw rise balls or try to just get them out of the zone, because there are still strategies within them to try and get that fishing and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like for softball players to then try to hit for the cycle, it's like it's so hard to get even a double. Like, 'cause girls can hit it off the fence. They can hit it off the fence and they can still get a single because the whatever fielder will rifle it back in.
They got bazookas.
Absolutely, it's
arms.
Softball girls do have arms. Like, what are they putting in softball players? Are they putting in steroids? Like, good Lord, they've got cannons.
They're just athletes, man.
I know.
Like, it's tough for us because we're washed, but like they're athletes still, you know.
Hey, speak for yourself, bro.
All right, you want to get out on the field real quick and face some of these D1 softball girls?
Yeah.
No.
Like,
I
get
talked to
K'd
one of my-
hella quick.
No.
I was gonna say I
Yes.
talked to one of my coworkers on Thursday night, and I was like, all right, because both my coworker and my boss's son played baseball and everything, and one coaches still, and I was like, so who's gonna like bring their glove out and throw with me? And all of a sudden, my boss's son raised his hand. He's like, dude, please, yes. And I was like, all of us have been out of baseball for years. It's like,
Speak for yourself.
Oh my goodness.
I'll not take this blasphemy on my name.
Dude, I'll just have my sister K you. We'll see what happens.
No.
My
I'll
goodness.
Cam Murphy your ass.
All right. Moving on to kind of our next section, we want to talk about top games for the upcoming weekend. So
Real quick, before we hop into that.
Oh,
I've got a series
Whoa!
on.
Whoa!
Mikey's got the floor.
Yeah.
Give him
I got something
put some
to
respect
say.
on his name. What'd you
Go.
Yeah.
Go, Mike.
Damn.
get? He said, yeah.
Big loss for Mississippi State here. I think Landon Sims is done for the year.
Yep.
He said he heard a pop when he threw that pitch,
Oh,
which is not good.
that was one of my players to watch for the season.
It's tough because he's got 27 Ks in 15 2/3 inning with a 1.15 ERA.
Mhm.
That's big tough.
Huge blow for those Mississippi State guys.
The Bulldogs have been struggling a little bit so far.
You can have the floor now.
No, speaking of, I just want to speak about people getting booted real quick. Did anybody see that Texas catcher being an idiot?
Okay.
Just like we talked about on social media last week.
So Josh, you said that to me on TikTok. I had saw that the morning of when you said that to me. Texas catcher literally goes over, takes a flask from a fan, and just chugs a pole while catching bullpens. And we talked about this. You said that, Josh. We talked about this last week on social media, everything on TikTok. You have to be so incredibly careful of what you are doing. I mean, it is so nuts because everybody at Ole Miss probably films a home run with a beer shower. I mean, there's probably 10 videos of Tim Elko from this weekend that go viral because of the beer shower. There are what is it, like the Harvard baseball where they're in the car or they're in the van driving to games and everything like
Call
that.
me maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to be so careful nowadays because videos go viral, and this kid literally took a pull from a flask in the middle of a game.
Apparently, he lost his scholarship too.
Oh yeah,
he did.
He's got the nasty boot.
Gonzo.
And good for Texas. Good for the coach down there. I mean, get that out. You cannot do that.
It's
Well,
Like,
just
I mean,
it's
he
just
can,
bizarre.
and
Like,
he did.
well, okay,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's the fact that it's not you don't have your last name on the back of the jersey for the reason of you to just play for yourself. What I mean by that is saying that
Yeah.
you have the name on the front for a reason, you have the name on the back for a reason. You play for those people
Well, I think-
first, and you represent that brand and that college.
Yep.
So to go
Number
out
two,
and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, you
You're the
take it
number
away.
one. You're the number one team in the league,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
in the entire NCAA. All eyes are on you. Everybody wants to be you.
You have
And you
been one of the
shit like
winningest
that.
college baseball programs in the history of the sport. Like Texas in total, Texas, Miami, you throw it to Florida State as well. You have been top 3 in wins, College World Series, regional, super regional appearances ever. And you come out and do this while your team is ranked number 1. Holy crap. I mean, you set yourself up for losing your scholarship, and thank God he did.
Like, not thank God, like he made a mistake, and I understand
Well, yes,
that.
he made a
But
mistake.
like at the
I
same
mean,
time, for them to make the reaction and be like, you did make a mistake, and you got to live with the consequences, is very professional by Texas. But you wish the best for that kid to kind of figure out what's going on. We can get kind of heated and use like our type 1 style of thinking where we're like, yeah, right away, let's think with our emotion, like, yeah, it's good
Oh,
he got
yeah.
kicked out. But at the same time, then you can look at it, take a step back and be like, Texas did make the right decision, they did do all this, but at the same
Yeah.
time, this kid needs to learn from that, and I hope that he can find an opportunity to bounce back moving forward. Might use social media then to publicly apologize, but we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, I mean, you could throw it to Iowa State. This year they had a sexual assault case with Xavier Foster, one of their big power forwards. He's 6'7", but he had a case brought against him. And Iowa State, with a brand new coach, they literally said, "All right, we're gonna sit you down. We're gonna talk about it, but we can't have you on the team right now. We have to kind of get rid of that atmosphere. We have to prove a point." And they did so. Well, Xavier Foster ended up not getting the case charged against him, and they dropped it. Well, now he's still entering the transfer portal, and Iowa State, to me, yes, you have to step up for your team. You have to step up for your program. And granted, the kid Foster's taking this really well. Like, he apologized to the university, he apologized to everybody, and then as soon as the case came out against him, came out that it was dropped, he said, so still thankful for the opportunity, and he is still looking forward. And I don't think Iowa State would take him back. And granted, yes, it might be hard to say, but as the program, yes, you probably don't want to take him back. And there are plenty of other programs that will pick him up. And you just have to stick with your guns. You have to stick with the team that you're fighting for and say, okay, yeah, we had something brought against us that was bad, and now we're moving forward with it. And I think that's the exact same thing with Texas now, with that social media stunt.
Exactly.
So, but I think if nobody has anything else to say, we can
Now
move forward
go to
with
top
games
games
for the
there we go.
week. Yeah. Florida State, number 8 in the country, and I think they'll move up just a little bit, even with one loss to Wake Forest. I think they'll move up. They've got Florida coming this week. Big battle for the state.
That's on Tuesday.
That is on Tuesday. That's at 6 p.m. And then also another game that's on Tuesday that'll be huge is, even though Tulane got swept this week, Tulane and LSU, because I know that series is also very, very big. That's on Tuesday night. Another couple of games. Texas has College of Charleston, Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky. You've got Oregon State, Grand Canyon as well. Liberty, VCU, throwing it up to Wednesday. Let's see what we got going here. Oklahoma State has Dallas Baptist. That will be a great game. Hopefully Dallas Baptist can kind of get back on track. NC State, Coastal Carolina on Tuesday. I think that really kind of wraps out
The mid.
Did you say Florida and Florida State?
I did. Yep. We said that.
Yep. My fault.
Yep.
I missed that.
Jumping
No,
ahead,
you're
Florida
good.
State's got NC State this weekend too.
Oh,
Yeah, they do.
That'll be a good little gauntlet for them to run through.
Texas has got a hard game with Incarnate Word. So.
Oh, gosh. Ole Miss has Auburn on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
That time is to be announced, but number 2
And
team
Friday.
in the country. Yep. And Friday they got the team against Auburn moving forward for the week. North Carolina and the ACC, they got Duke this weekend. Georgia Tech, Wake Forest. That should be a pretty good game. Georgia Tech is red hot on the bats right now as well.
Notre
the
Dame,
Yellow
Louisville.
Jackets. What game
Notre
was that
Dame
one?
and
Notre Dame,
Louisville.
Louisville. We also got
Notre
Mississippi
Dame,
State and
Louisville. That would be
Georgia.
big.
Miami, Clemson.
Yep. Kentucky and Arkansas as well. That's on Friday the 18th. Texas Tech and Iowa. Wow, that'll be insane. Is that in Iowa City? Oh,
Might
man.
be.
I'm going to have to drive to Iowa City to watch a
Washington.
game.
You
Little
won't
in-state
drive to
rivalry.
Iowa City.
It's 2 hours from where I am.
Blech.
Mississippi State and Georgia, 23 versus 20. The Dogs take on the Dogs. That should be a good game. Tennessee,
Yes,
go
Old
for it.
Dominion.
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion in Middle Tennessee, baby.
Dude, Middle Tennessee. Don't count them out. But,
Ohio
Like
State
count
and
Iona.
might not be bad.
oh, yeah. Who does Iona got this weekend? Let's
Long
keep on the
Island.
Iona.
Long Island. When they get a win, we're gonna throw a party.
We're going to go nuts. We're going to have a
Long
special
Island
episode.
7-7.
Keep it here. All right. Well,
You know who
Iona's
hasn't
got
won a
shot.
game?
Beat
Iona.
Northeastern.
Ooh.
Damn.
Okay. So that'll be an interesting game to watch. Stanford,
TCU
Arizona.
Stanford, Arizona. That'll be a
Mhm.
really good game to watch. TCU has Baylor this weekend. Texas A&M and LSU are the weekend series when it goes to Baton Rouge. Gonzaga has
Baptist.
Pacific, Arizona State. There was an absolute bomb at Arizona State. The player bat flipped. I forget who it was. It's on Twitter. Let me look here. We're going to keep
Everything's
talking.
on Twitter.
Oh,
You
everything's
got,
on Twitter. But, I mean, this man, it was not as big of a disrespect as Ivan Melendez bat flipping straight at the
Just
pitcher.
rolled
but
it right out there.
Put your chubber away.
Just like Texas. Texas. Horns up, baby.
Ivan Melendez. Oh my God.
Like, oh my gosh, I like so much college baseball.
You like Ivan Melendez too.
I can't find it. It might have been on TikTok, and I don't want to
Open
blow out
your
the audio on
eyes.
that, but
Oh, well.
should have.
Just open
But
your
Florida has Alabama as well for the SEC weekend.
Alabama.
Clemson goes to the Canes, or Clemson hosts the Canes as well.
Tennessee's got South Carolina.
Yep.
That'll
I
be a
think
good game.
SEC baseball is usually pretty good every week.
Oh, yeah.
SEC baseball is a dogfight every single week. I think it's a little bit better than SEC football because you know you're middle of the pack teams in football, and you know you're lower than the middle of the pack teams. So when it comes to baseball, I think
just
you
never
have,
know.
and you can even say this. And granted, like this might be kind of just a shot at them, but Missouri, the last couple of years has still made it SEC tournaments. And they've still done very good after the conference switch. But Missouri's baseball, I think, has skyrocketed since they've been in the SEC. And they're still a very good team. I don't think there's any SEC team that literally can drop to the true bottom in baseball. Like,
Well, you think about it in football, Vanderbilt's usually not good.
Oh, yeah.
no.
Missouri's usually iffy.
Yep.
Old Misses, they just ebb and flow. But
Nah.
the big ones like Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas A&M, like there's a top 5 every year.
Arkansas.
But baseball, it's so interesting. And then next year you're adding Texas.
And
Texas
Oklahoma.
and Oklahoma. Mhm.
Oklahoma's not a baseball school, but yeah,
I mean, they do decent for what they were. They had Kyler Murray.
look where he's at.
I know. But no, I mean, you are right, Mike. I mean, you take a look at kind of the difference between SEC football. You take a look between SEC baseball. And throw basketball in the mix right now. A lot of SEC teams from basketball made the tournament, and they're ranked
Mm-hmm.
coming into that. Like, you had a lot of ranked teams squaring off this year. So, I mean, the SEC is starting to kind of grow in all sports, and it has been good in all sports. Baseball and football, I think, before the last 4 years have been just the powerhouses when it comes to that conference, because you got teams like Ole Miss, you got teams like Florida that are doing very, very good. Another team in there, Arkansas, after they got David Horn. So, I mean, you're taking teams that are moving up. Pat Corbin with Vanderbilt as well. And now you're seeing that growth in a lot of other conferences, which is insane because the ACC has started to take off as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then another midweek game that I thought I saw here. Let me pull it up to go to potentially Tuesday.
Figure it
It
out.
was, yes, Vanderbilt, Michigan, a rematch of the CWS championship back in 2020. So, I think that would be a good game as well.
2019.
Or 2019. Yep, you're right.
Figure it out.
Oh my
We didn't have a
gosh.
season in 2020.
I know. Our historian, Mikey Love, is back at it again.
Figure it out. What do you mean? I've just been saying
Sorry,
figure it
what?
out.
Dude,
What?
you've been our historian more than anybody.
Bro,
What do you mean? I
just
literally
said
pulled up the
that.
stuff from 2003 last
Oh yeah,
weekend. What are you talking
what I'm
about?
saying.
beats Georgia. Wait.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
2006 or whatever the hell it was.
It was so long.
It's a little bit of some dated information, but not a big deal.
All right, is that
But I mean,
all we got for the weekend?
I think so. We covered our big midweek games. We covered our full weekend games. We got top 25 that'll come out tomorrow. Hopefully that'll be somewhere, but I think we're good.
All right. Well,
So, without further ado, Josh, would you like to wrap it up?
okay. So, obviously, since you're here,
Oh,
you have
God.
found our YouTube channel. No place like Homaha. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. We also have a Twitter and
Give
a
us a
TikTok.
thumbs up.
Twitter and TikTok at Homaha Pod. Again, I have been your host, JD Wonder, alongside Nick Hendricks and Mikey Love.
And the burnt ginger.
Yep,
The Burnt Ninjas.
that would be Dr. Love.
Signing off.
All right, well, we'll
It's your
catch you guys
boy,
next
Trick
week.
Old Dominion.
Oh, don't.